So state your name.
My name is Johnny Richardson.
Where are you from?
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Born and raised?
Born and raised.
Right on. So you've been here a while.
39 years.
Okay. And what was it like growing up here in Las Vegas?
Well, I wasn't directly around like the culture, like people think like Las Vegas is like Sin City. I grew up in a Christian home. I went to Christian schools, and so it's not like I was like dropped off in the culture of Las Vegas. I was kind of like, I didn't even really know what that culture was like until I grew up. Until I got 18 to 20 and started seeing the actual sin aspect of Las Vegas.
So, how old were you when you really started to rebel?
When girls became an issue, as soon as I got turned on to sexuality and promiscuous lifestyle and stuff. So as soon as I was like 15, 16.
Sure. And so like you had this period of time where you're just kind of doing your own thing. You're still around Christians?
No, not so much. I picked up a whole different type of friends.
Explain to me like the time where you were most far from God. What was that like?
I'd have to say I was most far from God when I was running around Vegas, probably around the 26, in and out of like the strip clubs in Las Vegas, and just drinking and being drunk, and at the time I was making a lot of money, so it's not like I could afford the lifestyle, but the money made me intensify the lifestyle. So I stayed in drunkenness and an immoral lifestyle. It was like I was eating it. Yeah. I remember it was like I'd get off work, go out, sleep just enough to go back to work, and then go right back out the same night. Like I'd go on these like binges, where that was how I lived.
How did you feel inside?
I was dead inside, and I don't think I really felt it. Just that like I was dead inside, yeah, because I was numb and intoxicated, and so it's like you're not feeling what I think that's why they say the drugs just makes you forget about your problems. So during that season, I just didn't think about the life that I was living because I was numb to it and intoxicated.
So
I got divorced from my wife. Well, I don't even think I was divorced at the time. I think that we were just broken up, but I was living with somebody else. I was living with another lady. And, God was just speaking to me like, if you don't change your lifestyle, if you don't change where you're at, you're going to be cut off. And see, I came from a history of men of God. My grandfather was a pastor. My father is now a pastor and a believer of God. And I come from a line of men that praised and believed and followed God. And so for me to be outside of that was almost like an obscurity. It was like something that didn't belong. And so it was like, it's not like, how can I say it? It's like God spoke to me and said, if you don't get it right, then I'm going to cut you off. It's not like, because I accepted Christ when I was young, but it wasn't like a real conversion. So it's kind of complicated. I don't know how it all fits together. But he just spoke to me and said, if you don't pull it together, you're done. You're going to be cut off. You're going to be separated from me. And that was like one of the first times that he like spoke to me, but I wasn't ready to convert at that time. I remember I was in a shacked up relationship, me and who's now my wife, but back then we were just shacked up, living together, and I just I went to bed that night just like it was a regular night, like no big deal, nothing, regular night. Maybe I had a dream or something. But God just spoke to me in my heart that night. I woke up that morning, it was about 4 in the morning, and that was like the first time that I just realized that, man, I was just like I was in sin, and that my lifestyle was offensive to God, and that He was sick with me. And so I mean, I didn't even know what to do. The only thing I could think of is to go over to my parents' house, because my father, like I said, was a man of God. And I went over to my mom and dad's house. I just remember just pouring out tears, repentance, and just apologizing for being such a arrogant and disobedient son, and then just and just crying out to God in repentance, like, I'm sorry, and just like, I get it now. I know that I'm a sinner, and I know that everything in me is ugly without you. And so I've heard the sinner's prayer so many times from so many other people, and that was like the first time that I said it for myself.
Sure. Did you have to be led through it, or you just kind of did it? You just kind of repented on your own?
I just repented on my own, Nobody walked me through it. Like I said, I had heard it. I just knew what words to say, because I knew that my lifestyle and my life was ugly, and I just knew that only God could restore me. And so at that moment, on my knees and with my parents, I just gave my life over to Christ. And I remember going back to my lady's house, and I told her, I said, I can't live here anymore. I said, I gotta move. And she was just like, what? I was like, I gotta move. I said, me and my daughters, I said, well, we can't live here anymore. I gotta move out. She thought, she believed in God and everything, but she wasn't walking according to the faith. And she thought it was another woman. And I was like, no, there's no other woman. I gotta work some things out. This is not the lifestyle I can live. I gotta move. And I gotta move today. I can't wait another moment. So I got all my stuff. We had money and savings and everything, and so I said, you keep all the money. I said, I'm out. She's just like, all her friends were like, girl, he's got to have somebody else. No man does that. And I was like, it had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with God was just working inside of me. I went and stayed at a friend's house for a week that I knew was a believer. And the Lord told me, don't take any money, don't do anything, just go over and stay at his house, he'll meet your needs. I went and stayed with that brother. He took me to and from work, and he ministered to me. And, and just day by day, fed me in the spirit. And I just got on solid ground. And when I got on solid ground, during that whole time I was talking to my girlfriend, trying to get her to realize that God was working inside of me. She didn't believe me though. But I told my kids, I said, I apologize that I subjected you to this lifestyle, and this is not the way that a man and a woman are supposed to be together. The way God designed it is that a man and a woman are supposed to be married, and then they live together. But we just, that's not the way it's supposed to be. What I was doing and what I was doing was sin. So I repented to my kids and asked for them for their forgiveness. So that was kind of like that was my testimony. Me and my wife eventually got married, but that was the breaking point.
How long did it take for her to realize that there was really something happening with you?
The process of time, when she seen that, that God was really doing something. I was going to church, and she seen that. I wasn't going out, on Friday nights. It wasn't like I'm going out and getting drunk or anything like that. My Friday nights, I was trying to learn about God and stuff. So she could see that it had nothing to do with a woman, but everything to do with it, that it was God changing me from within. So